When you think of Antarctica, what comes to mind? Probably just a huge, empty continent of ice, right? Well, it's so much more than that. Beneath that frozen surface, it's a land of absolutely astonishing secrets, holding clues to our planet's past and, you guessed it, our future. So in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to peel back those layers of ice and dig into three incredible Antarctic mysteries that scientists have only just recently managed to crack. All right, let's dive in. Okay, our first mystery is a real head-scratcher. It takes us right into the middle of the frozen Weddell Sea, with a phenomenon so bizarre it baffled scientists for, get this, nearly half a century. I want you to picture this. You're hundreds of miles from any land, surrounded by thick sea ice. And then, boom, a massive patch of open water just appears. It first showed up way back in 1974, then it vanished, only to pop up again decades later. It just didn't make any sense. How could that even happen? So there's a name for this kind of thing. It's called a polynya. Now, some of them are normal. They form near the coast when strong winds just push the ice around. But see, here's the catch. This one, the Maud Rise polynya, was way, way out in the open ocean. It was a complete and total anomaly. So to get the data they needed, scientists had to get creative. And I mean really creative. They enlisted the help of the locals. Yep, Antarctic seals, and fitted them with these special little helmets packed with sensors. These furry scientists could dive deep under the ice and gather intel right from the source. So what did our SEAL team find? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle was a process called Ekman transport. It sounds complicated, but here's the gist. As wind blows across the ocean, the Earth's spin, the Coriolis effect, causes the surface water to move, but at a 90-degree angle. And when that top layer of water gets pushed aside, something has to fill the gap, right? Well, deeper, warmer, and much saltier water gets pulled up from below to replace it. And that's the whole picture. It wasn't just one thing. There's a massive underwater mountain down there that creates these swirling currents full of extra salt. Then, the Ekman transport acts like a giant engine, just pumping that warm, salty water up to the surface. And since salt lowers the freezing point of water, well, that's what keeps this gigantic hole from freezing over. A really elegant solution to a 50-year-old mystery. All right, so we've solved the phantom ocean hole. Now, let's pivot. We're moving from the physics of the ocean to the mysteries of biology. We're going to discover life thriving in places it has absolutely no business being, and find ancient fossils that are literally rewriting the history of our planet. So, think about it. For years, the answer was just assumed to be no way. The seafloor under Antarctica's massive ice shelves was thought to be a totally barren wasteland, too cold, too dark, and completely cut off from any food from the surface world. But then, something incredible happened. A massive iceberg broke away from the ice shelf, and for the very first time, a patch of seafloor, about 209 square miles, that's roughly the size of Chicago, was suddenly exposed. And you better believe scientists rushed in to see what, if anything, was down there. And what they found was just, wow, absolutely breathtaking. This was not a wasteland. It was a vibrant, thriving ecosystem. A whole forest of sponges, giant sea spiders, ice fish, octopuses, even glowing deep-sea jellyfish. It was like finding an alien world on our own planet. And it completely rewrote the rulebook on where life can exist. But Antarctica's biological secrets aren't just hidden in the deep, dark ocean. They're also frozen in time. And one particular fossil discovery is completely changing what we know about a major, major chapter in Earth's history. On Vega Island, scientists discovered the fossil of a bird called Vegavis ii. Now, what's so incredible is its age. This bird lived 68 million years ago. To put that in perspective for you, that's 2 million years before the asteroid strike that wiped out the dinosaurs. This one discovery just flips the classic textbook story on its head. See, we used to think that the ancestors of modern birds only evolved after the dinosaurs were all gone. But this fossil is proof that they were already there, living right alongside them, and somehow they survived the apocalypse. So the big question is, how did they pull it off? Well, it turns out that 68 million years ago, Antarctica looked nothing like it does today. It was a temperate rainforest. It may have acted as a kind of safe haven, far away from the initial impact zone, allowing the ancestors of today's ducks and loons to just ride out the global catastrophe. We've seen how Antarctica was once a lost world of life. But for our final mystery, we're going even bigger. We're going to another lost world buried deep beneath the ice. One made not of trees and animals, but of solid stone.
Get this, buried under kilometers of solid ice lies the Gamburtsev subglacial mountain range. It's an entire landscape with peaks and valleys and plains, roughly the size of the European Alps, and not a single human has ever laid eyes on it.
And the story of these mountains is, well, it's the story of our planet. They were born hundreds of millions of years ago when continents literally crashed into each other. They stood tall for ages, and then, about 34 million years ago, the great Antarctic ice sheets started to form, burying them and freezing them in time, perfectly protected from erosion ever since. So you might be wondering, how on earth do we know all this? The secret is in these tiny, nearly indestructible crystals called zircon. They act like little time capsules. See, they contain uranium, which decays into lead at a perfectly constant rate. By measuring that ratio of uranium to lead, scientists can use these time capsules to precisely date the rocks and piece together the entire history of this hidden range.
So, okay, we've got phantom holes, hidden ecosystems, and buried mountains. These are incredible discoveries, for sure. But they're not just scientific curiosities. Understanding Antarctica's secrets is now more important than ever. You see, to predict how Antarctica is going to change in a warming world, we need accurate models. The old models were based on really simple physics from lab experiments, kind of assuming ice is just a big, uniform, predictable slab. But today, scientists are using machine learning to analyze massive amounts of real satellite data, creating a way more realistic picture of how the ice actually behaves. And the result is staggering. The new models revealed that those old lab-based theories, they could only explain about 5% of the ice shelf's behavior. 5%! The other 95% was driven by factors the simple models totally missed. Things like the shape of the hidden seafloor, or those complex swirling currents bringing warm water up from below. Until now, that was all a complete mystery. And that is the ultimate point. The secret of the Polonias shows us how hidden geology interacts with the ocean. The secret of that ancient rainforest proves how dramatically Antarctica's climate can shift. These aren't just stories. They are crucial data points for our new, more powerful models. They help us understand the rules of our planet so we can better predict what comes next, especially for something as critical as global sea level rise. Antarctica has revealed some of its most profound secrets, but it is a vast, vast continent. The discoveries we've talked about today prove there are entire worlds still hidden from us. It really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What else is down there, just waiting to be found?